Chris, and this is my how to remove doors, hang doors, and adjust doors video. Now this car is a 70 Chevelle 2-door hardtop. I'm going to show you first how the correct way to take doors off. The second situation is we're going to completely take the hinges off of the doors and the body and start over, because that's a common situation that people are in. And at number 3, I'm going to show you the best way I can to adjust this door and to get it pretty freaking close, if not perfect. This one's just all hung together, so I don't have these parts everywhere. But now it's time to paint these jambs. So I'm going to see if I don't hit my fender. Okay, so the correct way to take the door off is to remove these hinge pins. Now I've already went through these hinges. I have a video on here showing you how to rebuild these. But sometimes that pin can be in there upside down where you can't just knock it straight out. It's really hard to cut these out. You can't really get a sawzall or a grinding disc in there, a grinding wheel. So a lot of times people just pull the doors off right here. Just go ahead and knock the pins out, pull the door the right way. Okay, but I'm going to tell you right now that I don't even like knocking the pins out when the front fender's on. So if you're new at this or never done it before, I'd recommend let's go ahead and take the front fenders off. Now you can take the front fender off without taking the hood off. You're just going to have to prop the hood up with something. I'll show you how to do that. Now you can do this without taking the front fenders off, but everything is 100 times harder and takes 100 times longer. Just a 2x4, a jean jacket. Just kind of wedge it up in there tight. Figure out a way to prop that hood open. All we're doing is we're undoing the hinge from the fender. That's it. Okay, now we're going to take the fender off. Well, you see the difference of taking the fender off. Now you can actually kind of access these a little bit better. Try to get the original pins off. So we have the door latched, and we're just going to tap these pins out. That's all we're going to do. All right, now get ready. We're gonna now just prepare yourself. So we're gonna unlatch it and we're gonna gently take it off. Okay, so when you're taking your door off, do not freaking pull it from right here. You don't want to screw that up. It's got a whole bunch of holes in there you can grab. Get you some gloves. Now that's the ideal way to pull the pins so you don't mess with any adjustments on your doors. But usually you end up in a situation like this where you couldn't do that, took the door off. Now there is a stigma associated with taking the hinges off of the body and off of the door, but in this video we're going to do that because a lot of people find themselves in that situation. Okay, so if you have a car that's 35 or 40 years old that has not been restored, you probably want to go ahead and take all this stuff apart anyway. These hinges were stuck to bare metal and painted around. There's usually rust going on behind there. These bolts, once they go through the backing plate like that, they rust, and if they're exposed to enough moisture, they'll rust enough to where one of these days you're taking the hinge out, and guess what? You bust that bolt off in there, and you got to get it out of that backing plate. But the real reason you want to take all this stuff off is you want to sandblast your door hinges. I have a video on here showing you how to rebuild one of these. But if you watch the video, you notice I screwed up. I sandblasted a bad hinge. So let's see what happened to the original hinge on this car and why you need to sandblast them. If you don't sandblast this, the grit and scale will hide the fact that this hole is wallowed out. And I noticed it when I put the bushing in there, it fit loose. Now this one you could probably get away with just putting some JB weld in there and kind of holding it in there. That would probably be fine. But really what happens when you do this is in about 2 weeks it breaks the bushing in half and your door drops down. That's why you really want to take these hinges apart, inspect everything, inspect the detent roller. I had to replace both detent rollers. Okay, so let's go ahead and take them off. Well, you see what I did. I sandblasted in there, everything real good. Okay, so we're in this situation now. We're gonna hang the door where everything's been taken off. We don't know where we are. The first thing you wanna do is you wanna make sure you clean all your holes. Chase them rather than thread them because some of these holes are not exactly straight. Well, the ones in the doors. And if you put a threader on there, you may end up really screwing it up. So I recommend using a little, just chase the threads. It's very important when you're adjusting these doors, you need these bolts to be able to thread by hand. Okay, another thing is just make sure that this is not stuck. The other thing you want to do is you want to loosen this. Just make sure that you can loosen it. We're not loosening it to move it. We just want to make sure that we can adjust it if we have to. Okay. Okay, so the situation on my car is that, well, we made a worst case scenario for the video, but we're setting the doors up and adjusting them on the car where we can get it to pull the pins, and then we're going to go do our jams. Okay, so all the threads have been chased and clean. So all the threads have been chased and clean where we can finger tight all 6 of these. We're going to need 4. Okay, so get them both snug, but where they can move. Alright, we're going to get some paint sticks, secure them however. Okay, so we're about to hang the door. We got some paint sticks. Don't worry about them being secure. They're going to do their jobs. We got the hinges loose, cleaned. The other side's ready to go. We're going to come over here, stick the door in there, and we're going to latch it. So right now we're holding it, but you see all the paint sticks. Now carefully get these 2 started by hand, just to hold the freaking door up. Okay, well, you see the door's hung. We just have 2 screws in it. Now you can just kind of tighten them up or whatever, but the door is not adjusted. So now we got to adjust it. The popsicle sticks or paint sticks are already doing their job, protecting it at the same time giving us the correct gap that we want. We're going to put a second bolt in each hinge just to align the 3 holes up. We just need to make sure that this hinge is not in a bind. Okay. Okay, I like to lift up on it just a little bit. Now we can start snugging both of them so they don't move. Now on these, we're gonna go ahead and snug one down and leave one loose. Open the door and see if it drops down. Okay, so the door drops down a little bit, but we're close. Now we need to where it moves. All right, so I got it to latch. Now what we want to do is we want to set our line in the middle. So we're going to adjust that thing till we get it pretty close in the middle. Well, the point of doing that is just now when we got the middle straight, we look at the top and the bottom. Top comes out a little bit, the bottom goes in a little bit. So now we need to adjust the door in like that. Barely freaking loosen these. And you're just literally gonna tweak it. I hope you've seen it. That's all I did. I just bumped it a little bit. So we're also pulling out, adjusting the rocker panel too. We got that where we want it. We got the rocker panel where we want it. So that means those 2 are set to bolt down. A little more than snug. That's all you really got to do is just adjust that rocker line and this body line and adjust it in and out. Now we have the last adjustment. For this one, we're going to undo these 2 and push that way. Now this one's kind of tricky because we have these loose. We're going to be pushing that way, but we're going to lift up a little bit before we tighten them back. So, see it? Push. Okay, so perfect gap. This one, it's just, that's the way it's made. The main thing is get that gap down the door. So the last step is to open it and let's see if it droops down. Okay, no droop. Perfect. This don't have the bumpers, weather strip, or nothing. The latch hasn't even been cleaned, but you see, we've successfully adjusted the freaking doors to nearly perfect. The weird thing that happens is if you don't pull up a little bit when you're pushing back, the door will usually droop down and you'll have to screw with it. But that little pulling up that we did, pay attention to that when you're doing yours. And this door is aligned pretty freaking close to perfect. All the lines on it match. Now you go back and make all your little tweaks you got to. See, I got to bend that little corner out a little bit, but the freaking door matches the body real freaking nice, and that's the point of adjusting your doors. Adjust them to your body and then adjust your front fenders to the doors. So the whole point of the video is to get your doors adjusted, where now you can take them out with the pins, and that's what I'm about to go do, and I'm gonna go do the door jamb. So let's go ahead and take the door off one last time. Well, anyway, now we have everything redone. The doors are not that hard to adjust once you kind of get an idea of what you're doing. So let's go ahead and look at the finished side. Let me put that other door back on. So here's the other side. I got the door jamb and sealer. We're gonna hang the door back on. You got to be careful the way you do this. We got all this done, so we cannot lay this on the ground. And you don't want to grab the door in here. That's not a good idea. You want to grab it from in here. Okay, so I just went back and put the tape on it. I forgot to put it on there. I was actually trying to show off where I wouldn't nick it. Just make sure you put something on there so in case you do rub it, you don't screw it up. Okay, so putting that door on was not that easy. I should have had somebody help me, but it can be done by yourself. All right, well that's it. If you liked the video, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.